everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot La Mode, and today on Hot La Mode we are doing a Tony's fashion roast for 2023. Welcome und bienvenue. Tonys, the Tonys, the Tonys, the Tonys. In case you're wondering, I thought about that. I kind of put a little bit of work into that one. I didn't think it was that bad. You can give me the Tony next year. Thank you. I digress. We're going to be getting into Broadway's beautiful, big, old, exciting, wonderful, fantastic red carpet ceremony. Looks at the best actors and actresses in, musicals and plays and things like that. I don't know much about Broadway. Listen, I was not really a theater homosexual as a young person. I liked a good theatrical experience every now and then. Don't like the slow songs, only the fast ones. Big sort of ensemble experience, that's for me. I like musicals enough that I know enough. I also just sang cabaret, so theater gay right here. Let's just get into the red carpet. First up, we have Alex Newell, who is wearing, honestly, I don't know. I did a little bit of research, couldn't find the dress, but it is this gold off-the-shoulder dress. It has a drape at the neckline area, which turns into shawl, scarf situation as it falls on the backside of the arms, which I actually kind of like. I think it's different. It's not super radical, but I do think that it's different than what we normally see. It has a sort of goddess effect. I actually really like it. We can see that the bodice is corseted, but as we reach around sort of the waist area, we can see there's another sort of swag of this gold fabric. I don't love it. I just don't think it's really necessary. I personally think that it throws off the actual look itself. I understand wanting to sort of add the drape in. It correlates to what's going on up top. Honestly, this kind of dress, very simple, is really the best way to go. Let it be form-fitting, let it just happen. As for the rest of the dress, I really like the back of it. I think the train is really, really nice. I think the front actually really, really works. I have to say, I actually shockingly kind of love the dress. I think that it's simple, but it's pretty well done, except for that front drape. I love little swag, shawl, sleeve situation. It's cute. I think it works. I think it's nice. I'm into it. Next up, we have Annaleigh Ashford, and she is wearing Oscar de la Renta. This is a black dress, I believe. It's strapless. It's made up of what I can only assume is a chiffon. And the chiffon is sort of layered over top of what is essentially just a sort of ball gown silhouette. It's really easy. There's no belt on it. Love to see that from Oscar. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Fernando. Appreciate you. But the thing that's kind of really making the dress pop, besides the fact that it is a pretty simple, classic, nice ball gown silhouette, is the paillettes in gold. There are some big ones, there are some smaller ones. They sort of reflect the light off of them. It does feel very Oscar tchotchke. I don't want to say tchotchke, maybe more trinket is what I want to say. Oscar trinket embroidery. There is a lot of that. We have a very sort of timey, antique-y sort of element. We can see a lot of the flowers, the way that the chains are sort of draped in different looks too. There's just a lot of the sort of old school Americana-ness going on, and so I'm wondering if that's kind of what we're getting here. It's not bad. It's not good. It's there. I don't hate it. It fits well. We'll take it. Next up, we have Ariana DeBose, and she is wearing Prada, and she hosted the evening. Now, she is going full Prada crinkle collection. Honestly, an iconic one, I believe, 2009. We have it in this very metallic, sort of silky-looking white. It's crinkled, it's wrinkled, but at the same time, the crinkle and the wrinkle actually reflects the light off of it, which I think is really, really smart. If you're going to have a fabric that is metallic and is meant to play off of the light, if you crinkle it and create different texture in it, then it's going to show different texture at different places. So when we look on the left side of the dress, we can see that there's actually kind of a dark spot where the light isn't hitting it, a really intriguing sort of element. And as we move down from that spot, we can also see that there's a darker pink from where the dress is a different sort of crinkly texture and where it's not hitting the light at the same angle as it is on the front. It's just a little thing that I thought was intriguing about the dress. As for the rest of the dress, it's form-fitting, sort of sheath dress, very plunging neckline, which I actually don't really mind. The crystals that sort of pipe the plunge, I think it's okay. They don't take away, they're not distracting from what's going on in the rest of the dress, so I'll keep it. As a little sort of jut out of fabric on the side, I don't really understand that. I haven't seen the back of the dress, so I don't really know what's going on there. But as we move down the dress, we can see again that crinkle and that wrinkle continues. It's not for everybody, but it's Prada. It's about sort of pushing the boundaries of what clothing should should look like, what they should be, what luxury means in a certain context. So I like it. It fits, it's intriguing, it's a little intellectual, the color really works on her, she looks good. Next up we have Audra McDonald, who is wearing Michael Kors. It's a very sort of simple, flattering blue fitted gown. We can see that there is a little bit of shoulder pad going on up top. Don't love that element of it. But what I think is intriguing is it's form-fitting, it fits the ladies very, very well, and there's a ruche right in the center, which I think is meant to sort of pull in the waist area. I don't know if it necessarily does that, but I don't think that it makes the waist look bad either, so I'm leaving it. The sleeves are fine. The actual skirt, it fits decent. From the waist down, it's okay. I'm not obsessed with it. It's just very clean and classic to a degree, but there are like weird elements like the ruche and the shoulder pad that is trying to like maybe make it very 1980s. To each their own. I personally think Audra McDonald would have looked better in like a little nice Michael Kors 1970s bohemian moment, which I think is what he's been doing a lot of recently. I think it would have worked. I think it would have been really nice. But at the same time, I like don't hate it. I really don't love it. I really don't even like it, but I don't hate it. Next up we have Ben Platt, who is wearing Louis-Gabriel Nouchi. I love this suit. I love a double-breasted moment like this. I love the extra buttons that sit right sort of along the pectoral. And then I just love the shape of the actual jacket. It's like Herman Munster realness. I'm living, I'm laughing, I'm loving. Give him a handlebar mustache and I'm like Gomez Adams. Iconic. Love it. It's just dramatic. Like the actual shoulder is so dramatic in a weird way. I love the way that the sleeve comes down. And normally I hate the way that the sleeve covers a hand. I know that's like the traditional tailored way. I still really don't understand why half of your hand has to be covered, but digressing. But even here, I like the fact that it's a very funnel kind of sleeve. I like the cylindrical element of it. And then as we can see right below the pec, flows down, it really tapers itself in, and I love the fact that it gives this sort of like Dorito man silhouette. It's different, it's weird, it's kooky. I will say the pants I think could fit a little bit better, and I think with the shoe, we could have tailored that I think a little bit stronger. It just looks a little baggy. And I think it's weird to have like the baggy bag next to this super strict, sort of very firm little jacket moment. But love the jacket. She's hot. I would die for her. Next up we have Coleman Domingo wearing Thom Browne. See, listen, like talking about the sleeve covering the hand, I think it just looks so much better when you wear a Thom Browne suit. Like I'm being honest. I just think that the fact that the sleeve doesn't like fall over half of your hand is really good for doing shit. It's a simple classic black suit. I really, really love the fit of it. I think it's nice. The fact that the shirt comes out a little bit. I know people are like, meh, meh, meh. Personally, again, I love it. I got my Thom Browne suit. I wear it. Everybody's like, oh my God, you look so good. And I'm like, it fits really well. I like the fit of the pant. It's really, really gorgeous. I love that little rolled cuff. So hot. Always hot. I love the patent leather brogue. I think it's really cool. I think it's a good way to do those patent leather shoes because normally they're like, ooh. But here, I think it looks better because it's in this brogue format. And you have white, red, white, blue, white stripe sitting on the front. Doesn't necessarily need it, but I don't hate it either. Thom Browne is going to make a suit that fits very, very well. And I think Coleman Domingo looks classy and cool and nice, but it's not your normal suit either. So I like it. Next up, we have Dominique Fishback, and she is wearing Dundas. Now, this is very sort of Peter Dundas, sexy cutout. And at the same time, you have the sort of sequin element that runs along the neckline and then down the actual dress as well. It's very Dundas. It's not for me. I just think a cutout needs to have a function, also like a direction, a purpose. She needs to know herself. And by her, I mean the cutout. She needs to know and understand herself. She needs to go to therapy before she just does whatever she wants. And here, I don't necessarily know if she's put in the time and the effort at therapy. Like she's only doing like a 15-minute session. She really should be doing like 45. That's how I feel. I just think like armpit cutout, and I don't want to call it a sternum cutout because it's not really the sternum cutout. It's kind of like above the bust area cutout, and then the waist cutout, and then the jutting in with the sequin. It's a lot. I don't really get it. But I also understand that it's Dundas, so it's kind of in the brand ethos to do flashy and bright, and at the same time sexy and suave and cutout and cool. To each their own. It's a preference thing. It's just not my preference. Do I think that it fits her really well? Honestly, I do. I have to say, I really think that the way even that little piece sort of juts into the waist, that sequin, it's not cutting things in half. It's not pushing and tensing things up. The way that it fits on the neck, I think is fine. It's decent. The skirt, it's good. It's not a bad fitting outfit. It's just not my personal cup of tea. Next up, we have Dylan Mulvaney wearing Christian Siriano. It's an off-the-shoulder flounce style with a sheer corset and then a big old ball gown with big godets and what seems to be sort of silver encrustments. Silver, it's like a silver flake of some sort that creates like a polka dot effect. I like it. Listen, I'm not obsessed with it. I don't think it's amazing. I'm not like, oh my god, it's show-stopping and wonderful. Do I think that it's like a well-fitted Christian Siriano gown? Yes. Do I think that it's like tacky and gross? No. Do I think that it makes sense and that it works and that she looks good in the dress? Absolutely. I also just, don't understand like the Dylan Mulvaney hate. It's not, I don't get it. Listen, if the outfit's bad, the outfit's bad, but like the outfit's not bad. So why would I do such a thing? Also, like if the person's bad, the person's bad, but I don't think the person is bad. So I don't really understand why the girls are having a conniption. But regardless, I think Dylan Mulvaney looks very nice in the dress. Honestly, I think it actually fits her really, really well. If you have a hate comment to leave about her, honestly, like, read a book, do something better with your time, educate yourself about life and the world, because I don't want to read it. Thanks. Next up, we have Jessica Chastain, and she is wearing a Gucci look. I love this. I really like this. I think the gathering is really, really smartly done. I love this ombre of yellow. I think it's really gorgeous. Starts as kind of like a cape style up top, which I think is nice. It frames the actual décolletage area. And then the dress in and of itself is all gathered, which normally when you have a kind of gathered style, it's a little bit flowy and free-forming, but here it's not like that. We can actually see that it's very sort of molded to the body. We can see that that waist really nips in and the hips sort of jut out. It's really good. We can also see that the gathering is really, really tight, and I think it helps to sort of pull our eyes down as we move down, helps to bring in that really sort of dramatic waist shape that we're seeing here. I love the bust area. I love the way that the gathering sort of doesn't just go horizontal, but rather sort of curves with the actual natural shape of the bust. I love it. And even the way that that curve sort of stops in the middle area, and then we have the actual continuation of the gathering running down the rest of the bust, like, it's beautiful. It's a beautifully constructed gown. The Gucci team should be very proud of themselves. It's stunning. It doesn't have to be everybody's taste, but I have to say that I think that this is a red carpet look that we don't really see that often. It's so well done. I'm so obsessed with it. And I'm not even a gathered girl, you know what I mean? Like, I gather the girls, but I'm not a gathered girl. And it looks great. Even the little sequin element in the middle, that's the lightest sort of yellow. It's gorgeous. I think that it draws your eye in. There's a little bit of sparkle to it, but it's not taking attention away from what's going on the other sides. I also love that idea of sort of contouring the body with actual lines of color that differentiate. It's something that we see a lot, weirdly, in like old Prada collections. And I know that Sabato De Sarno, who is going to be showing his first collection for Gucci in September as a new creative director, did work at Prada. So I'm wondering if like maybe that's kind of what is happening here. It's like a nice little nod to the history. But listen, Jessica Chastain, ateitup.com. Very impressed. Next up, we have Jodie Comer, who is wearing a custom Thom Browne look. It is a tailored corset in navy blue. It's really, really gorgeous, and it's fully sequined with little bugle beads that run down in not boning sort of shapes, because I don't really think it is. I think actually the boning shape is not embroidered whatsoever, but the other veins that sort of run through the rest of the look where the boning is not seems to be what is done in these sort of little V-shape triangular embroideries. I think it's nice. I think it's something that you have to really look up close and see the detail of it to really appreciate it. But I do think it's sweet. There also is this drop waist skirt, which is also very much so embroidered. Again, it's something you really have to like look up close and personal. But I do think that there's an intriguing element of the embroidery, actually, if we look at it. Up top, again, triangular motifs coming in the embroidery. But if we look at the skirt, it's very square and rectangular shapes that are moving and grooving in that manner. I think it's intriguing. Listen, it's not my favorite Thom Browne look. A long shot, but I would say that it's rather toned down for Thom, which I think is always intriguing to see. And at the same time, I think that it's not a bad dress whatsoever. I think it fits well. The drop waist thing, I think you need a little bit more drama in the skirt to really like hit that home. But I'm intrigued always to see a Thom Browne look. Not my favorite, but it's doable. Next up, we have Jordan E. Cooper, and he is wearing off-white. I believe that this is from the most recent off-white collection, fall 2023. It's a leather suit, which I really like. I presume that it's probably not actual leather. It looks to be sort of pebbly kind of leather. Maybe it is real leather, but I know that it's pebbled. And also I just wonder, maybe it's easier to make it out of faux leather. I'm not sure. But what I do think also is really intriguing, besides the fact that we're seeing a leather suit, I like the fact that it's a leather moment. The pebble, that's the grain of the leather. We can see that if we zoom in. Don't love it. I just think pebble is like the least exciting of the grains of leather, but we will survive. What I do think is really cool about the suit too is it's been printed on, and we can see that there are little people and their shadows sort of walking all along, you know, the sleeve, the actual jacket, and the pants. I think it's fun to do not only leather, but printed leather. I will say I don't love the shoe choice with it. The black shoe to me and the brown of the suit, I don't love that. And also I think the pants could have fit a little bit better. I know that they're leather, so they're, you know, you don't want to do too much to them because I presume maybe it's a sample, but like still we could just hem it a little bit for the event. It'll be fine. So listen, I like that Jordan wore a full leather moment. I think it's fun. I think it's cute. I think the pants could have fit better. But besides that, I do really enjoy it. And there's something about the Tonys, like the men are like doing it. They're fashioning. They're exciting. They're doing something memorable and intriguing. And I appreciate that. Next up, we have Jordan Roth, who is wearing Ludovic de Sernin. Ludovic is a French designer known a lot for very sort of short and sexy mesh styles. So what we can see here is this hoodie gown. But what I think is intriguing is as we reach the top of the bust area, we can see that these red Swarovski crystals go from being fully opaque, full hood, full coverage, to becoming a trellis motif that runs into this gown element. I think it's really different. I think it's really cool. I think it's something we don't really see that often. I also think Jordan Roth is somebody that is going to do whatever they want to do. They're just going to go fashion-wise and go balls to the wall. And every single time I usually love it. I think it's amazing. And I think this example is really truly no different. I think it's beautiful. I like the black slip dress underneath. I think it adds a nice sort of element. It gives a nice backdrop. It really lets the red crystals pop. I also just think that that cutout trellis detailing is super fun. I think it's super cool. I think that it has movement, flows really, really well. I think the subtle bell sleeve also is super nice. And I love the fact that you still get a little drama with the hood up top. It creates intrigue and interest, but it's still showing off quite a lot underneath. But you don't even really have to show all of it off, if you're understanding what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to show body, but we're doing a little bit of a show and tell at the same time. I love it. Super great, super fun, super exciting. Next up, we have Lea Michelle, went for Emilia Wickstead. I love this. I think it fits her phenomenally. I think it's beautiful. I think the white with the red floral motif pops super duper well. I think that the gathering of the skirt is gorgeous, like really creates this lovely sort of godet effect, like the fact that it's textured and deep and red, but also white. I think, again, just the way that it sits on the waist is lovely, and that skirt really creates drama without being super ridiculous or over the top or frou-frou. It's just beautifully constructed. Is amazing. I think she's got the Fanny Bryce experience down. And this is like a I'm the greatest star kind of dress. It's just selling. I also feel like I keep subtly outing myself as a possible theater gay. But I'm not. I don't like going to actual Broadway. Do I watch movie versions of musicals? Sure, on occasion. But I don't go to Broadway. Next up, we have Lily Rabe wearing Erdem. I also love this. We don't get enough Erdem on the red carpet. It's a blue and black sequin dress. It feels very cottagecore-y to me. I think that blue with the subtle floral motif in black sitting on top is really lovely. But I think it becomes very Erdem in the fact that it's fully sequined. It goes full sequinitis. Sequinititis. I also love the black sort of bib with the ruffle collar. I think it's really gorgeous. I think it gives a sort of Victorian element to it. Then you add these black gloves. It feels very Sister, whatever her name is, from American Horror Story. It's exciting. It's different. The black waist belt, I don't love. I don't know if it was necessarily necessary. I wouldn't think so. Besides the belt situation going on at the waist. I like the dress. I think it's fun. I think it's different. I think the sequins work on her. She's selling it to me. Next up, we have Lorna Courtney, and she is wearing Markarian. Markarian, if you don't know, is a brand that's based in New York, and it's most famous because Joe Biden wore it to the inauguration. I love this dress. It's a beautiful jacquard. It's gorgeous. The strapless detailing is really, really lovely on it. I love the way that it wings itself up on the sides. And then at the waist, there's no belt. It's just a nice seam. We can see a subtle little gathering to give a little poof at the hip, and then it falls, hits the floor really, really well. Again, with the jacquard, you don't want it to like cool. You don't want it to drag. You don't want it to be too short though either. Like it needs to hit perfectly in order to really showcase the jacquardiness. Jacquard, if you don't know, is a type of weave. It's a way that clothing is actually constructed. It's done on a specific loom in a specific manner. Warp and weft, baby. And then there is a big bow at the back with two little sort of bow tails that flow out and create little trains. I love the dress. I think it's beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's stunning. I think the silhouette is amazing. I'm into it. Next up, we have Lupita Nyong'o, and she is wearing Misha Japanwala. Now, Misha Japanwala is a designer who does a lot of these really, really beautiful, and oftentimes they're custom made. I know Cardi B wore one quite a while back, but I love the fact that Lupita went for a silver version of it that showcased the girls. We have to blur them. It's not because I want to blur them. I don't. You just have to kind of Google the image if you want to get the full effect, but it's because YouTube inappropriateness. I'm not having the Venus Williams situation all over again. It was very upsetting. It was very traumatic. Don't want it. That's why you can't see it, and I'm sorry. But just Google it on your phone, Google it on the Google, whatever. Look it up. Essentially, we can see that there is a silver sort of neck detailing that goes up top, and then there are two of breasticles sort of sitting there, and then there's a black suit over top. I love it. I think oftentimes what happens is women do this sort of suit jacket with nothing underneath, but usually like they're actually covering the suit jacket up, which makes sense. I understand why you would do that. But I think it's kind of cool, kind of liberating, kind of exciting the fact that here, instead of doing like no shirt and it's buttoned up, it's a shirt that looks like what would happen if there was no shirt, but it's not buttoned up, which I kind of love. The pants, I think, fit really, really well. It gives it like a cool smoking suit vibe. I wish that they were maybe velvet like the actual jacket. I just think that would have tied it all together just a tiny bit more. But regardless, I do love the effect. I love the drama of it. I think Lupita looks great. And from my understanding, people were being like, about it. But like, those people have no taste. And I'm sorry for that. Next up, we have Michele Diamond, who is wearing Carolina Herrera. This is from the most recent Carolina Herrera collection, and it is a banded gown, big ball gown, strapless, and there are black bands at the neckline, at the waist, and then flow down the skirt in three different ways and cap off the hem. And then in between those big bands is a floral motif with yellow and pink and green and purple. It's sweet. Listen, it's not my cup of tea. The print is a little bit Martha Washington. I'm not saying it looks like an American flag. It just feels very Daughters of the Revolutionary War. But there's a customer for it. There are people that really love beautiful little floral motifs. It feels very wallpapery, but like it's not bad. I do think that the black bands sort of help to create a little bit more of intrigue in it. It sort of cuts it up a little bit. I don't hate it. In a weird way, I like kind of looking at it. It's strange and it's intriguing and it does a different sort of take on a floral experience. But if you do hate it, I get it. I understand. But I don't. It feels very big ball gown Carolina to me. Next up, we have Michelle Williams. I don't know who she's wearing, to be completely honest. I thought for a minute maybe it was like Louis Vuitton, but like I cannot confirm this, so I don't really know. It's a fully sequined dress. It has a floppy sort of sleeve to it, a very large neck, and then as we move to, I would say, the top of the thigh area, the silver embroidery sort of dissipates, and we get just sort of plain cream dress. I don't love it. You know what I mean? I think it's meant to be going very Greco-Roman, casual antiquity, less drapey antiquity, but more just sort of casual flow with some embroidery up top. I don't love it. It's a dress that's embroidered. Cool. Next up, we have Rachel Brosnahan, and she is wearing Versace. I believe that this is from the most recent collection by Versace, which is the Dua Lipa collection. I'm all into Versace referencing the archives, and this is an archive reference. I don't remember the exact collection, but you know, the polka dots with the butterfly dress, it's a Gianni thing. I just don't love it. I just don't think the print is like great. I don't think it was great then. I don't really think it's great now. It's just polka dots and butterflies. It feels a little bit limited to me, but like not in a good way. It feels like limited to mixed with like Chicos, and I don't love that. I just think the polka dot is kind of a little more conservative and the butterflies feel a little bit too, yeah, it's just like a weird mixture to me. I don't think the dress is bad. I don't think it looks bad on her in the sense of it fits poorly, because I don't think it does actually. I think that it fits rather well. I think that the fact that you have an excess of fabric that reaches right below the knee area, I think adds a different sort of silhouette. It's not super dramatic, but it's certainly there. I think this is really truly like a print preference thing. And if you love polka dots and butterflies and want to mash them together, be my guest. I just will not be your guest. So thank you so much for the invite, but I won't be there. Next up, we have Samuel L. Jackson. He wore Giorgio Armani, went very sort of casual navy blue suit, but I do love the fact that it's pinstripe, zoom in, cute, it's intriguing, it's a little bit different. I also love the shirt. I like the fact that it's textured. It's really intriguing too. There's not too much going on. It's a black pant with a black bow tie and a black shoe. I don't really understand the navy blue and the black. Giorgio Armani is going to do what Giorgio Armani wants to do. So to each their own. Love the jacket, love the shirt, the rest of it. We could have matched it together, but next up we have Sarah Bareilles wearing George Chakra. This is an haute couture look, I believe from like fall 2022. It is an intriguing, very silky red gown with some cutouts on the side and a deep plunge, but the sleeves are really what makes it super intriguing. They are dense, I don't want to say ribbons because they're not, like dense strings that have been sort of woven into each other and create a really intriguing sort of big bell sleeve. I like the sleeves a lot, and I like that there is a little bit of continuity with the sleeve going on at the waist. I think the fact that we're doing this sort of infinite loop there, I get why we do it normally. I'd be like, no, don't, but that I love. The rest of the dress I don't really love. It's hard to do a silk like that because you really can see the fact that it's not fully steamed. It feels a little dense. It feels a little clunky in the skirt area. It flows fine. It's just fabric is really tough. The fabric is tough to love. A mother might love her, but I don't have to. So I don't. Again, the sleeves, love. The skirt, leave. Next up, we have Skylar Astin, and he is wearing Atelier Cillian. I don't know much about Atelier Cillian, but I would like to because this suit is really intriguing. It's a simple kind of black suit in terms of cut, but when we zoom in, we can see that it actually seems to have been like heat manipulated, maybe pleated some way, and it has this really intriguing texture, like a ravine of some sort, or fossilization, or something you'd find in like the Grand Canyon. It's really cool. It's really different. It's really intriguing. I like the fact that he didn't do like a tie too. I think that helped. The pants fit well, and the black boot. It's a boot. I love. I'm obsessed. I'm very grateful. So all in all, listen, there are subtle ways to like do intriguing suiting that feels a lot more classic, and I think this is a great example of that. It's not that hard. Next up, we have Stephanie Sue, and she is wearing Markarian as well. Listen, this is a lot more kind of clean and classic Markarian America vibe. Simple, very kind of easy to understand to the average Midwestern consumer. No offense to the Midwestern consumer. It's easy, I'm sorry, I can't help it. But I like the silhouette. I think it's beautiful. I think the black really works. The strapless element is nice. The skirt is gorgeous. The little off-the-shoulder sleeve that's a little bit puffed is fun. All in all, nice, easy, breezy, lemon squeezy. And finally, we have Yahya Abdul-Mateen II wearing Ferragamo. This is a custom look. I don't love it. I just think the fabric is really tough. It's an intriguing idea, you know, doing a double-breasted kind of suit, but not showing the buttons. I like that. I love it. It's a tough fabric, you know what I mean? Like, it looks awkward. It looks weird. It looks robotic. It looks glitchy. It looks like it's pixelated, but like not in that fun Loewe way. It looks like, oh, the image didn't render in high enough quality. That's not good. The pants, it's hard. They're tough pants. They fall well, but still, and I love the shoes. I will say those shoes are very comfortable and they're really, really nice shoes. Ferragamo, if they're going to do one thing that's fantastic, it's a nice shoe. I'll tell you, I've worn the shoes. They're nice shoes. But I just think the suit, it's tough. It's just a tough fabric. It really, like, it doesn't land, unfortunately. And it makes me sad because, like, I want the best for Maximilian Davis. And I also want the best for Yahya Abdul-Mateen II because, like, he goes for it. And I think this is a good example of, like, A for effort. I don't know if I can give a letter grade for execution. And so that is the end of this roast. But let's talk about best and worst. For best, I'm going to put in Jordan Roth. I'm going to put in Ariana DeBose. I'm going to put in Jessica Chastain. I'm going to put in Lorna Courtney. I'm going to put in Lea Michelle. I'm going to put in Coleman Domingo. Oh, and Skylar Astin. Yeah, sold. All sold. As for worst, I'm going to have to put Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Sad. I'm going to have to put Michelle Williams. Sad. I'm going to have to put Sarah Bareilles. That was tough. I think that's good. But thank you all for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I like doing the Tonys. It's fun. I will see you guys in the next video. And with that, TTYL.